You clicked on this video because you may have made a decision recently within the last couple of days that you know you were not supposed to go ahead with. And it's something that God has been speaking to you for a long time about. He has told you, don't do this thing, okay? I'm going to allow this to happen, but you just cannot get yourself involved with the temptation. And you did. You gave in, bro. Like, you gave in. And let this be a word of encouragement that God is a merciful God. Yes, he is. And he sees that you've been trying. He sees all the times you have tried. He's not just looking at you in the moment where you do fail or fall or not pass the test and being like, that's who you are then. No, he sees all the times up to the moment where you did fall and you did fail. He sees how you tried. So please don't beat yourself down. Use this as an opportunity to get back up. You're being trained. You're learning how to not give in. You're learning what it is that makes you give into temptation, give into worldly things and wickedness. You're learning, okay? It's a learning process. I would be lying if I said that when I first met Jesus and I met him, he came to visit me in my room, that every day after that I wasn't being tested. Like, I'd be lying. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect at all. A lot has happened within the last 5 years of me even knowing God and knowing Jesus Christ for who he says he is. And a lot has happened. I've fallen, I've risen, I've learned, I've unlearned. That's just the process. Like, he's just assisting us to be able to get to this place of being so sinless, you know. And a lot of people say finding Jesus doesn't mean that you're gonna never sin again, but it means that you're gonna sin less. Like, you will sin not as much as you used to before, you know what I mean? And I know a lot of you, desire to genuinely never sin ever again, like, you know. But every day when we wake up, there's something to sin about, unfortunately, and you might just fall into that. And God is just building you up. It's not a reason for you to continue indulging in sin, but it is a reason for you to realize that God is still there with you as long as you give him your yes. He will teach you. You don't just start riding a bike with 2 wheels in most cases. You usually have training wheels. You usually start with training wheels, so just do your best, man. Judge yourself in a way that doesn't harm yourself, you know, that doesn't bring harm to you, but judge yourself before you judge someone else. Remove the speck from your eye before you try to remove it from someone else's. Okay? Before you try to point it out in someone else's eye. Because most of the times when we spot something out in someone else, it's like we're not any better. We're probably 10 times worse. Literally. Yeah, but the only reason why I can talk the way I talk now is because of the things that I have gone through and the things that I have learned, the sin that I have indulged in, and the lessons that I learned from it, the consequences that came from sinning. God allows us to sin so that we can recognize this pattern that then brings us to a place of humility and just being like, hold on a second. I've done this 10 times and it results in this certain thing happening every time after I do this specific sin or whatever. Like, you start to recognize the patterns and the consequences that come after. And that's why God doesn't just take it away, you know, because then you'll never learn. And there's such a beauty in learning, because you get to use the mind that God has created for you. You get to use it. Like, what else would it be for? Thinking, okay, fair enough. But God tells us not to worry, which means that we are in a fallen world because we be worrying about what? I don't know. Anything. Wake up, worry. Go to sleep, worry. Go about your day, worry. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, worry. But we have to rebuke it. We need to cast it down and realize what it is that God has already called us to have, which is not worry, which is not doubt, which is not fear. Okay? God didn't call us to sin. He just saw that sin entered into the chat, and the only way that it can exit is if we learn. So he allows the lessons. He allows the lessons. He allows it. It genuinely does make you stronger. Even if you feel like you're breaking and you're tearing apart. Well, guess what? A seed that has been planted, it has to break out. It has to break in order for it to start sprouting. When you're in the gym, you have to tear your muscles. You will tear your muscles in order to build them into the specific shape of whatever physique that you desire. It has to break sometimes. You are such a beautiful, shattered work of art. You're a beautiful broken vase. And the only one that can put it together is God. But as long as your flesh is one and your face still looks like your face, and your hair is still your hair, even if you don't have hair, even if you don't have a face, your hands are still put together, your legs, your skin, then that means you are put together. You have been created. And everything that keeps you in the shape of this human shape is the force. The force around us that you just cannot see. And it is the Holy Spirit.